Hello everybody. Today is day 5 of the multi-group Mary's Mini. I hope everyone is having some serious success. I feel like I am. This morning I woke up and I felt kind of light, just a little bit. I didn't yesterday, but I woke up feeling that way. I think I'm going to go on and weigh in the interim on Sunday. Just to kind of see where things are, but I felt kind of good this morning. I put something on and it felt kind of loose on me, sort of, kind of, not a whole lot, but just a little bit. I woke up a little bit earlier this morning because I had no Instant Pot potatoes made. Last night I worked very late. I got home after 8:30, and so I didn't get a chance to make anything. And remember, I still can't cook. Still dealing with that toe. And a lot of my things in my freezer I can't eat right now because potatoes don't freeze very well. So I have to prepare my food on a pretty regular basis. So sometimes people say, well, I can't eat plant-based, or I can't do a Mary's Mini because I don't know how to cook. Well, to tell you the truth, you really don't have to know how to cook that well, because this is what I've been living on, pretty much sustaining myself on. I'll fix a whole bunch of potatoes in the Instant Pot, and then I'll put those in my refrigerator. And throughout the next couple of days, that's about how long a 3-pound bag of potatoes will last me. Over the course of the next couple of days, I will have things like oven fries cooked with those potatoes. The ballpark potato salad, which I absolutely love, and I've been having that a lot this week. Steam my vegetables either in the steamer or on the stove or in my instant pot, or in my Hot Logic Mini, which is what I heat my food up in every day when I'm at school. So instead of heating up frozen food, I'll heat up my raw veggies and stick them in there, and 3 hours later I've got some nice steamed veggies. Yesterday I brought a bag of frozen green beans and stuck that in a glass container, stuck that in my Hot Logic Mini, and at noon those green beans were absolutely wonderful. I never thought of eating green beans like that. And it's so funny, the whole while I was putting them in my Hot Logic Mini, I was saying to myself, green beans and potatoes would be so good right now. My dish, which I call green beans and potatoes, which is one of my favorites, wasn't able to do that, still can't, because I can't cook. So I just pretended that I had them with my steamed green beans, and then I had my Instant Pot potatoes on the side with a lot of hot sauce sprinkled on top of them. So, a whole lot of preparation is not necessary if you can't. Just your potatoes or your starch and some steamed vegetables. Those two things will work. And to tell you the truth, those two things together on a regular basis will work very well. I have a friend in one of my other groups. Oh goodness, since she started following that particular group, she's down, more than 100 pounds. And pretty much what she eats, as far as lunch and dinner is concerned, I think most of her mornings are oatmeal. She's not doing Mary's Mini or anything like that right now, but it's usually, her oatmeal for breakfast, steamed veggies and some kind of starch for lunch, steamed veggies and a big salad, and some kind of starch for dinner. And she has consistently been losing weight. And so that's, what we do on the Mary's Mini. Like me right now, where I can't cook, steamed veggies and my potatoes. But let me tell you that, and you get a whole bunch of nutrients that way too. So it's nice to cook if you like to cook. I love to cook. I wish I could cook. But if you can't, or if you don't have a whole lot of resources, just a bag of frozen veggies and some starch. That's really all you need. So it does not have to be that difficult. And the way Mary McDougall puts it is that if you eat the same starch every day during these 10 days, then potato is something that you would be less apt to overeat on. You're more you're more probable to just eat when you're hungry rather than when you're snacky. And I watched a video the other day. Oh yeah, the one where they were talking about the resistant starch. I'm gonna mention that in just a second. But he made a good point there, because he said, I think it was that one, maybe it was another video. I've been watching all kinds of videos lately. But what the person said was, look at this bag of chips and look at this potato. Which one would you be more likely to overeat on? Maybe that was Jeff Novick's video that he said when he was talking about calorie density. And so you're more likely to overeat a whole big old bag of chips than you are a whole big old bowl full of potatoes. And so that's just the way it works, because our brains are wired to go after that stuff that has the, oil, salt, and sugar in it. And that's one of those things that we're trying to purge out of our taste buds and all that kind of stuff when we do things like the Mary's Mini. Now, I did watch a video the other day, though, on resistant starch concerning potatoes and starches, and I just wanted to say something about that. I've been knowing about resistant starch for a while, which is one reason why I love putting my Instant Pot potatoes into my refrigerator for a few days. I don't usually eat my Instant Pot potatoes when I first make them, because I do want that resistant starch. But I always thought that I only get the resistant starch if I eat the potatoes cold, such as the Instant Pot potatoes, or such as the ballpark potato salad, or my ballpark potatoes. I let the potatoes get to room temperature. I don't reheat them when I make those. I just, eat them. I carry a baggie full of potatoes and I eat those like that. Sometimes I cook with my Instant Pot potatoes, but I've just understood the fact that I thought that those were not resistant starch anymore. The neat thing about resistant starch is that it does not have such an impact on blood glucose levels, especially for people who are dealing with diabetes. Resistant starch is a wonderful thing. You get resistant starch in beans. It's almost akin to, is it soluble fiber or insoluble fiber? One of them. Okay. I don't know enough about it, but what I've always heard, what I've always read, is that you get the resistant starch when the potatoes have cooled and you eat them cold, like in a salad or something like that. But when you reheat them, the resistant starch is not as prevalent. In that video that I watched the other day in one of the groups, the guy said that you can reheat them and still get the resistant starch. And then he also made some comment about you can reheat all of them, put them back in the refrigerator, reheat them again, and so on. I have a concern about that, as far as food poisoning is concerned, because I'm one who never heats food, eat a little bit of it, and then reheat it again, put it in the refrigerator, reheat it again. I had food poisoning when I was younger, and I'm real nervous about food poisoning. So that's a little bit concerning for me. If you know more about resistant starch when it comes to potatoes and rice, please let me know, because I'd like to do a little bit more research on it. I did some reading the other night, and the only thing I could find is what I had been thought I had known for so long. So, last thing I want to mention is today is Friday. It is Friday. Oh, I look forward to my Fridays. Most teachers do. But with Fridays come challenges when we're trying to follow a program that will help us to lose weight, or any kind of program that we're doing that's a little different from what we've been used to doing. The thing about it is this, guys. With weekends come challenges. A lot of times with the weekends, we meet friends whom we've not seen in a while, family that we don't see often. And a lot of times when we meet up with people over the weekends, it always centers on food. And that makes it a little bit challenging, especially if you're one of the only ones or the only one in your circle who follows a whole food, plant-based diet. That makes it kind of hard. And for me, what I do it's a little bit different for me. My circle is so small. Most of my family is away. And so it's pretty much just, I'm pretty much by myself on weekends, but sometimes I am invited to go to things. I love to play cards, and I belong to a couple of card groups, and they are potlucks, like food out of the ceiling, potlucks. What I do when I go to these functions is I always bring something that is plant-based, that is tasty. I used to bring my red beans and rice. People used to love that, Louisiana girl, red beans and rice. And I make really good red beans and rice. So I used to bring that. Sometimes I will bring like a fruit tray. Sometimes I'll bring some steamed veggies or some roasted veggies. And usually whatever I bring to those potlucks, I usually take home an empty dish. The last time I went, I made my little concoction that I do with the black beans and the corn and the rice and the cilantro and the salsa mixed in there. And that is and a little bit of avocado, that is a really, really good dish when you're on your 4 days. Or, if you're not doing a Mary's Mini, it's very filling and it's a great thing to take to a potluck. And so the thing about it, basically what I'm saying is that if you go somewhere, offer to bring a dish. Offer to bring a dish that is compliant for you. And if you do that, then you'll have something to eat on, and you've also contributed to whatever it is that you're going to, if it's a potluck. And also what I used to do, I haven't played cards probably in about 6 months now, but what I also used to do was I used to make my own plate or my own container full of my own food, so that I will drop off my food in the potluck, but then my food was already with me, so that I did not even have to go to the potluck station. Because it's hard. It's hard when you see things that are yummy, that you want, that your brain wants. Ooh, it shouts out, oil, salt, sugar, let's go, dopamine hit, give it to us, And so that may be something. Another thing, and most of us do that, some of us are more successful than others, let your friends and your family know that you are plant-based. And it's a little bit, and if you're vegan and you're just trying the Mary's Mini in order to transition to a plant-based diet, let people know what you're doing. A lot of times if someone knows what you're doing, they're not going to try to tempt you in doing other things. It is really hard when we visit over the weekends with friends and family. But the most important thing that we have to remember for ourselves is that the most important thing right now is what we have to do for ourselves. Because if you can't take care of yourself, you can't take care of anybody else. Okay, guys, y'all have a fabulous weekend, and I'll be on in the morning. Bye-bye.